Hey Raghunath, tell everyone about our Patreon community.
Sure, Kastuba. The Wisdom of the Sages Patreon community is an incredible online yoga resource. If you like the type of yoga wisdom and culture we share on the show, then our Patreon community is a great next step. This is a listener-supported podcast, and any level of sponsorship will unlock a wide range of live and archived classes, talks, and even workshops.
Raghunath teaches, I teach, and we have a host of other excellent teachers on topics ranging from yoga philosophy, asana classes, storytelling, Ayurveda, kirtan, cooking, meditation, and a lot more.
We even have an incredible online Bhakti 12-step recovery group.
So if you want to check it out, go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages.
All right, let's get it on.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Live from Grandma Terry's apartment in New York City, this is Wisdom of the Sages, a daily yoga podcast, with your host, Raghunath, and co-host and senior educator at the Bhakti Center in New York, Kastuba Das. Welcome to the show, everybody. Welcome to Tuesday's study of the Srimad Bhagavatam. We got Mara here spinning the dials. Miss Mara, good morning.
Good morning.
Got a lot of feedback from Grandma Terry's impromptu interview yesterday.
She
Yeah.
became
About-
an internet sensation overnight.
She was an internet sensation. That was a very cute picture you put of her and me on the, what do you call those thumbnails? YouTube thumbnail. Hey, if you're listening to us on YouTube, make sure, matter of fact, even if you're not, everybody listening to this, just go to YouTube, follow Wisdom of the Sages, like us, press the bell icon to follow us. All this stuff helps us with drawing the algorithms. So Wisdom of the Sages goes at the top and people search spiritual things like Bhagavad Gita, spirituality, stuff like that. If you like what we're doing, that's one way to support us. Or you can support us just financially. That works. It's a community supported podcast. That's how we eat. So you go to patreon.com/wisdom of the sages. And once you go there, you have a key to access a stockpile of transcendental online goodies, trainings, classes, workshops by myself, by Kastuba, and many of our empowered teachers in this community. Any announcements, Miss Mara, before we dive into our nugget of the day?
Yeah, we have a Bhakti recovery group meetings today. The men meet at noon and the women meet at 2. Tomorrow for our Patreon members, there's an asana class at 3:30 with Michelle Berger. And we have a bunch of events at the farm coming up. The 200-hour yoga teacher training starts July 13th if people are interested. And then there's Chant Camp Labor Day weekend. That's filling up really quickly. And Raghu and Lori Pag's retreat, September 8th through September 12th. If you want to check it out, you can go to raghunath.yoga.
Raghunath.yoga.
Yep.
All right. So Grandma Terry's still sleeping, so I don't think we're going to get any pop-ins from her today.
Okay.
Everything good with you, Costume?
Yeah.
Anything you want to share?
Still trying to, I haven't had a chance to rest yet, really. We went straight from all the Rath Yatra and the retreat into like a full day we have our annual in-person board meetings for the Bhakti Center yesterday. So that was like an all day. So I really haven't a chance to rest and recover. So I'm still sick.
You know what? I had 2 meetings with Radhanath Swami yesterday. One in the morning before that meeting. And then after that meeting, I had another meeting with Bhagavatananda from Bani, who I love, this guy. And then I was like, I really wish I could talk to Radhanath Swami for 5 minutes more. I kid you not. It happened in a moment. He just walked out in the street 100 feet ahead of me.
You started running.
I started running. I said, like, Maharaj,
Stop.
I don't want you to think I'm a stalker, but I need to talk to you for 5 minutes. And then he grabbed me and he brought me up to his room.
Oh,
where he was
in the
staying. We
apartment?
talked for like an hour.
That's nice.
It was really nice. It was a really nice morning. Ha! And I hung out with Grandma in the evening. Took her out to dinner.
Did you tell him about your mother on the show yesterday? Radhaswamy?
I did not.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. All right. What do you say we dive into our nuggets, sir?
Black Elk.
We're back with Black Elk.
I would love to have the opportunity to spend some time with Black Elk.
Yeah, me and him could talk about our special visions that we had. Black Elk when he was 9 had that transcendental
He
vision.
can tell whether or not you've really had some vision or not. I think he would be able to tell.
He could,
So
of course.
your
I
thing
could
was-
tell if he had one. Are you kidding? I was the anointed one.
If your whole thing was like phony, he would see right through it.
Prabhu, what can I say? I'm not making this story up. Jesus appeared at my
He'd be like-
birth. You think I would make that up and share it?
He'd
My
be
mom
like,
told me that since I
"Silly
was a
white
little
man
kid.
is saying he's anointed one."
He didn't say I was anointed. I made that part up.
Oh, you see?
He just comforted my mother. Great beings can appear to their devotees. My mom was a devotee of Jesus, and therefore Jesus appeared. If you don't know what I'm talking about, listen to yesterday's show.
Okay. Let's hear what Black Elk has to say today.
I never get sick of that drug mule story either. Willie Nelson's drug mule. I hear that over and over again.
That was interesting how they fired her to protect her.
Yeah, it was such a good story. It's one of her better stories. And the choking on the peach pit. Come on.
Okay, let's not relive it all now.
Sorry. Okay, here's Black Elk. Here's what Black Elk has to say today.
Read it a little bit slow. Let's get into this.
The growing and dying of the moon.
Waxing and waning, right?
Yeah. Reminds us of our ignorance, which comes and goes.
Okay.
But when the moon is full, it is as if the Great Spirit were upon the entire world.
Why do you change it? Why do you do that? Why couldn't you just say it the way that he said it?
It is as if the Great Spirit were upon the whole world. Oh,
No.
I didn't change it. I just read it wrong.
How can you read whole as entire? Like it's like
Entire world, the
doesn't
whole
look-
world, the entire world. I don't know. Some people would say to interpret things while reading them and then interpreting them. Some people would say that's a gift, Kostuba.
Okay.
I'm sorry you're not appreciating my
I guess you
gifts
can
this
always
morning.
put a positive spin on it. So this is a good. There's several things I really like about this quote from Black Elk.
Hmm.
You know what the first one is?
Yeah, what's the first one?
First one is the consistency with our understanding that our chit nature, we're such chit ananda. So it means by nature we know, we understand, we see clearly. But that awareness comes and goes. Like our clarity comes and goes. But it's waiting there to be uncovered. Just like the moon is always full, but sometimes it appears to not be full. So similarly, our awareness is always there underneath. And just for some time, it appears like it's not there, but it can be uncovered. It's waiting to be uncovered. So like, just as the moon is waiting to be uncovered, our clarity, our clear awareness is waiting to be uncovered. It gets covered by ignorance,
I've met people, and maybe sure you have, and these are the people that always drive me crazy. It's like they're in total Maya, and then all of a sudden I say something to them, or somebody says something to them, and they get not only Krishna conscious, but very, very Krishna conscious, surpassing me.
You're like, wait,
what are you doing? Hey, I've been around here. And some people are they're almost like waiting, like they're a domino waiting to reawaken what they've already had in a previous life. And you see, they just climb the ladder of their spiritual life. And it's not, sometimes it's fake. Sometimes they're just like, they're new and they adopt all the externals, but haven't really internally changed. But sometimes they are just waiting to be reawakened from where they last left off, or something happens to them. And I've seen it happen where something tragic happens or some near-death experience, and that it brings them to this whole new, nope, that whole part of my life is dead. Now I'm on this new path. That's also have you ever met someone like that?
Mm-hmm. Yes. I think I have.
Did you say yes?
I said yes.
You have. You met someone like that? You want to share it? You met somebody who had a near-death experience?
I've had near-death experiences myself.
You have.
Yeah.
Did it accelerate your spiritual life?
It I believe it did. Not instantaneously.
You're not even
not instantaneously.
okay. Well, that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about. I'm like talking about a person that had a near-death experience.
Yeah.
And it radically changed everything in their life.
I think it's not uncommon. Well, or at least maybe it does for some time, and then they might slip back, just like the moon, comes and.
Yeah, that too. But I want to know if you knew anybody.
Can't think of anybody like that right off the bat. Sorry.
All right.
But then what this goes on to say?
Yeah.
So if my awareness is something that's covered by ignorance, just like the moon may be covered by a cloud, or the sun may be covered by a cloud, it's there, it's waiting to be revealed again. But then he says, but when the moon is full, so in other words, when we're in full awareness, full clarity, what do you see? What do you experience? What was his experience? What did he understand? And he says, it is as if the Great Spirit, and now this term Great Spirit, I really like how they use that term, right? The Great Spirit, because it's very much the same as Paramatma, right? Param means like superior, higher, supreme, great. You could say like that, great. Paramatma, the spirit, the soul. So the Great Spirit, or the Paramatma. Another thing I want to share, Raghunath.
Yeah.
Because like you and I just in our experience, like say with the Hare Krishna movement and Prabhupada's books, and usually when we hear the word Paramatma, we're thinking of this form of Lord Vishnu that sits within the heart of every living being.
Right.
But there are great acharyas, great teachers in our line, in our lineage, that they would use this term Paramatma a bit broader to refer to all three different manifestations of Lord Vishnu. Mahavishnu, which is kind of like the soul of the entire
I've never
material
heard
world.
that. I've never heard that.
That's why I'm sharing it with you. I thought it might be something that you would appreciate.
It is interesting.
Yeah, like
this is my personal nugget.
If you read the Paramatma Sandarbha by Jiva Goswami, he speaks of the Paramatma like that, right? Like all three. So that great soul who manifests on these three different, he manifests as there's a. We can get into the cosmology where we say there's an unlimited spiritual sky, and within that there's like a bubble, you could say.
We don't even have room for that in our tiny brain. An unlimited spiritual sky. We don't have unlimited in our faculty of understanding.
Yeah. And so then within that, lying within the water in that bubble is Maha Vishnu, the great Vishnu, you can say, right? And from him, from his body,
he sweats.
No, the bubbles come out in the water. Whatever you want to call it.
Sweat. Sweat bubbles, universes.
But the bubbles come out, and those are universes. This is what these ancient texts say. And these great philosophers, and they would chant these mantras like declaring this, this was their vision.
I'm sure when we sweat, there's living entities within the sweat.
We're going to talk about that today, Raghunath.
This is the micro.
Yeah. So then these bubbles is on his exhale, the bubbles come from the pores of his skin, unlimited universes. And in every one of this, so that's the first Vishnu. And then within every universe, he lies down on the water within that universe. From his navel grows the lotus flower upon which Lord Brahma is born. Brahma is empowered by that Vishnu to engineer this universe. So that Vishnu is called Garbhodakshaya Vishnu. And then he goes, it's going macro to micro to micro. Then he enters into the heart of every living being within that universe. And then within every atom within that universe, Akshirdaksha Vishnu, this third. And usually we call that third one Paramatma. But as I'm saying, like Jiva Goswami called them all Paramatma. Right?
Can I jump in and squirrel this story real quick? Hold that.
Just get me back. Just get me back.
We're going to get you right back. in the Garga Samhita, which is the account of Krishna's Leela from his family priest point of view, there's a story that all the demigods in the birth of Krishna, all the demigods go to see Lord Vishnu. And Lord Vishnu actually directs them out of the universe to see Lord Krishna. who is on that very first Vishnu you mentioned,
Mahavishnu.
Mahavishnu, and you're saying, well, I'm Brahma, and the gatekeepers were like looking at him and saying, well, which Brahma are you? He's like, what are you talking about? Which Brahma? I'm the Brahma, the creator of the entire universe. He says,
4 heads.
you see all those bubbles? Every bubble that is coming out of the pores of this Mahavishnu has a Brahma. So as big as Lord Brahma is, and as important as Lord Brahma, that all the demigods worship Brahma, they consult with Brahma as the head of all the demigods. He is just a tiny being, and he lives so long. He's such a tiny being in the bigger picture. So everything is starting this macro, micro, and then of course in that one little bubble, all the jivas get impregnated with this Paramatma.
Okay. So when he's saying when the moon is full, when your pure awareness is no longer covered by ignorance, he feels that, he sees that this great spirit is penetrating every atom of existence, right? The great spirit were upon the whole world. You know, it's my this is something that's developed within me in recent years, although I've been practicing body for some time and reading these same books for some time. These books are unlimited, and they'll go deeper and deeper and deeper. And I feel like I've just, I'm really on the surface of them. I want to go deeper into them. And to me, this is what I really want to understand more and more too, that I'm feeling this and seeing this all the time, that I'm aware of Krishna's presence, that him being everywhere and him being in everything and everything being in him. And if I feel like if I can operate on that level, that, you know what they call that? Consciousness? That type of consciousness?
No.
They call it Vasudeva consciousness. You've heard that before, right?
Yeah, Vasudeva consciousness.
Vasudeva. I would hear this term when I would read Prabhupada's books, and I wouldn't give it too much thought, like, oh, they have some name for it. It's called Vasudeva consciousness, But I think I'm beginning to understand just a little bit more about what that really means, because Vasa means to dwell, right?
Oh, yeah.
And Vasu means like that soul that's considered the supreme being of the universe, because he's dwelling throughout his consciousness is penetrating, is dwelling throughout the entire universe. And so Vasudeva consciousness, I pulled up something with that, Raghunath. Let's see it. Oh yeah, that's this verse right here. Got a little Lord Shiva for you, Raghunath.
Hit me with some Lord Shiva, please.
So this is from the 4th canto when, Lord Shiva, we read this. This is one of the most exciting parts of the Bhagavatam that we read, if you remember. We were reading it in January of last year when we were in Cali, Colombia. And that was when Lord Shiva walked into an assembly. No. Daksha walked into an assembly and everybody respected him. But Lord Shiva didn't get up and show him external show of respect.
Right.
But, and Daksha became very insulted by that. You remember?
Yes.
You remember the kind of things that he said?
He was a little arrogant. Yeah. Tried to cut down Lord Shiva.
Look at you.
Shiva, big mistake.
Yeah, you're dirty. You've got no class, no culture, wearing skulls around your neck.
Marry my fine daughter.
How creepy. Yeah, you're my son-in-law. How did this ever happen? He was really angry. And then Lord Shiva just let it go. But then shortly thereafter, his daughter Sati wanted to go visit him at a big event, visit her father, Daksha. And Lord Shiva was like, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think anything good will come from it. If you really want to go, you can go. But I think nothing good will come from it. And he began to explain what actually happened, why he didn't show him that external respect. And he said, I was deep in a state of trance in this Vasudeva consciousness where I was just experiencing Lord Vishnu's presence everywhere. Right? And so he says this verse here, Sattvam Vishuddham Vasudeva Shabditam. Does that sound familiar to you?
No. Sattva.
Sattvam Vishuddham. Vishuddha Sattva.
Vishuddha Sattva.
This is that realm beyond the modes of goodness, passion, and ignorance, beyond the gunas, right? Pure goodness. Shat Sattvam Vishuddham, like, is a type of goodness that's beyond material goodness. It's pure goodness. It's not touched by those three modes. Vasudeva Shabditam. This is called Vasudeva level, right? In that level, you see what we don't normally see. You see the great spirit upon the whole world, right? You see God everywhere. You see God penetrating his. People say this in a casual way. Oh, God is everywhere, but like, no, you actually understand exactly how he is everywhere.
So, Stuby, you should meet with these tribal chiefs and try
That's
to
why I'm saying
find
I'd
some
love to spend some
common
time with
ground.
Black Elk.
I could see you and Black Elk's, present day representatives coming together.
What if they called on you, Raghunath, Black Elk, and you
Black
sat
Elk.
down with them in the teepee, and then they gave you the pipe? Would you smoke that
The
pipe?
peace pipe?
Yeah.
Yes, I would. Tobacco
Yes,
was a very sacred thing.
Okay. Yes, I would.
Some cultures.
Okay, so so this is the translation verse. Lord Shiva speaking to Sati, his wife. I am always engaged in offering obeisances to Lord Vasudeva in pure Krishna consciousness. Krishna consciousness is always pure consciousness, in which the Supreme Personality Godhead, known as Vasudeva, is revealed without any covering. And that more esoteric, not that that's not esoteric enough, but that more esoteric of what that special gift that our bhakti lineage has to offer, the pure love of Radha and Krishna, the love of Krishna and the gopis, the love of the residents of Vrindavan, the intimate love of friendship, the parental love, that romantic love, in all in all its beautiful detail. To me, I think I can only understand that theoretically, and I'm only going to be able to understand that on the surface level until I have this consciousness, right? This Vasudeva consciousness. Because when we get that, we'll let go of everything petty that's weighing us down, not allowing us to float up to this,
Well, you know what I love about this tradition? It's not just that the goal is Radha Krishna Prema, it's that the process of the goal is so exciting. Like you're pulling, like we all pulled Lord Jagannath's cart. Like the process makes you fall in love. I want to pull Lord Jagannath. Or there's the festival. I want to swing Radha and Krishna, or I want to bathe the deity, or all these things. They put you in the final goal in the practice. That's what's exciting about this. Not just some pie in the sky when you die, but every rung on the ladder is like a joyous step, as if you're in the spiritual world.
This is true. This is true.
Can I share with you what I was going through when I read this shloka?
Which shloka?
Or read this Black Elk shloka, whatever you want to call it. This quote, this nugget by Black Elk. The waning and the waxing of the moon, the coming and going of the moon is like the coming and the going of the intelligence. Sometimes I find even learned people or learned devotees or not so learned people like myself, you get some sharp intelligence and then you get covered in a second. And when you get covered by ignorance, we act in such a humiliating way. Have you ever, you know what I mean? Just something, you just become humiliated by your activities in ignorance. I think I was telling this in a class I gave this weekend, that when we were when we were touring with the band in the 90s in Shelter, it was at a time historically in the music industry and all these bands were getting big, that companies would invite you to their warehouses,
give you a bunch of stuff,
give you free stuff, free swag, whatever, snowboard jackets or snowboards.
You gave me a pair of sunglasses a long time ago.
Sneakers or sunglasses. And the idea was you give these bands whatever they want. They're going to wear them on stage, and then
product placement.
People want to buy all this stuff. So, we never got paid that much to be in the band, but you get free clothing. And if you're a snowboarder, having a snowboard jacket helps getting free stuff. But sometimes you go in these places. I remember the first time I went in one of these places, they're like, oh yeah, you guys are great. I'm glad your band is here. This is great. Okay, here's a box. You have 1 hour to get whatever you want in the warehouse. And you're like, what? Whatever. It's like it's like a shopping spree. It's like, what? Whatever I want. And like in a sick frenzy of greed. Like
you realize you become a whore and you're running around.
It's not even it's beyond a whore. You all the lowest qualities of consumption and greed. And you're just like, these like, how many pairs of Arnett sunglasses and snowboard goggles do I need?
What am I willing to give up my dignity for?
It's like humiliating. And I was thinking, this is so freaking ridiculous. And you go from being like, well, I've just left the Brahmacharya ashram. Now our band is touring, and you have like this sober mind. I just chanted a chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, and now every snowboard jacket in this place is free. It's like, it's amazing. First of all, how greed never satisfies us, and there's no limit to how much we will want. It's not like you go in there, you know what? I would just like one good quality one, and that's all I'll go. And the interesting thing is also, it's like, we don't even know we're greedy until we get offered things. That's another interesting thing. Like when I was sitting in the van an hour earlier chanting the Bhagavad Gita, and if you say, are you a greedy man? I'd be like, no, I'm above greed. Greed doesn't satisfy us. But any moment we can get covered by illusion, and then that frenzy of consumption can take over the intelligence in a moment.
Raghunath, it's an incredible example that you just shared. Because you take that and then you take your Black Elk or your Paramatma realized being.
Yeah.
You take that being, because this goes back to this verse I've quoted many times on the show.
Mm-hmm.
But if you have awareness of the Paramatma, of this great spirit, all the time, if you see that, then, and here's the verse I'm looking for. This is text 1329 from the Bhagavad Gita. One who sees the supersoul equally present everywhere.
Yeah.
Which is exactly what Black Elk is talking about. One who sees the supersoul equally present everywhere in every living being does not degrade themselves by their mind. Thus they approach the transcendental destination. Right?
It's a great word, isn't it? Degrade yourself by your mind.
And
you have an option to upgrade or degrade.
And it's kind of like if the aspiring bhakti yogi, if their goal is to reestablish their loving relationship with Krishna, then we have to be careful not to degrade ourselves. In other words, like say there's someone is really impressed with another person, they want to be their boyfriend or girlfriend or spouse or whatever, They're careful how they behave in front of that person. They don't want to show them it's like the George Costanza thing. He's like, he finally gets like a girlfriend, and he's at the house of their parents or something like that, and someone throws what do you call those?
Oh yeah,
eclair,
like an eclair on the garbage.
In the garbage,
garbage,
and he sees it sitting there on the top, and then he's picking through it. He's like, "Oh, look at that!" He degraded himself in front of them.
He secretly took the eclair because it was sitting on the top of the garbage. He's like, "Well, it's none uneaten and sitting on a paper plate. I'm just going to take it out of the."
And everybody's
garbage.
looking at him.
I'm laughing because Mara knows that might be something I do.
Okay, Claire, and so it's. Like you're saying, like someone says, here's a warehouse full of free stuff. They could have just said, take your time. But no, the way the material world works, it's going to make you, if you want it, you got to degrade yourself. Start running around here like an ignorant, bizarre shopper. And whereas like a sober yogi would be like, I don't need to degrade myself this way.
I don't even need a snowboard jacket. I don't even need a snowboard jacket. I
don't need a snowboard jacket. I'm not going to live my life that way. I will not become degraded,
Yeah. Anyway, I find like those humiliating experiences happen to me when I'm getting a little arrogant, probably. And Krishna just says, I just want you to check this out. Lust, greed, anger, envy, they're still there.
Right.
I know you're chanting that chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. I know you studied the Bhagavatam this morning. I know you chanted your japa today. Those are still there. and they're waiting for you to, and they can reappear at any moment. And that keeps you on like a dependent edge. Krishna, Lord Rishikesh, control my senses, engage my senses in service to you. Otherwise, I'll be serving matter and serving trying to desperately, pathetically serve my senses.
Right.
I'm not over it. Don't feel, and that again and again. There's that story of me in the airport at the time where I lost my cool. Remember the guy? I grabbed the guy in the airport. The humiliating story. It's like I thought I was over it. I'm cool. I've been a brahmachari a long time. I've controlled my senses, and at any minute you can just lose your cool.
That's why we got to strive for that Vasudeva consciousness. Make it our prayer. Make it set our determination on it. We could be determined for so many things. Why not make that our determination? I want that,
Yeah. And while in it, stay humble. Stay humble.
If you're actually in it, you have to be humble. You can't get there without humility,
Yeah.
But it's a way.
Because that consciousness is that I don't have control. Krishna's Krishna's protecting me from those things.
Yeah.
Krishna's protecting me from lust, greed, anger, envy, etc.
All right.
Otherwise, that feeling of I've got this, it's such a horrible thing to say. I got this. I got this. You don't got anything. You don't got anything. At any minute, you could fall down that slippery slope of material existence.
All right. We ready?
All right, my friends.
Coming in late, but let's still read at least one.
Coming in late. How did it get so late?
Been talking. Because we started a little late. I remember.
We started a little late. That was my bad.
We can go a few minutes over if you need to.
Okay. Alrighty. Narayanam namaskritya naram chaiva narotamam devim saraswatim vyasam tato jayam mudirayat. Before reciting our Srimad Bhagavatam, which is our very means of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances to the Supreme Lord Narayan. Unto Narayan Rishi, the supermost human being, to Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, to Srila Vasudeva, the author. Nasta prayeshva badresu nityam bhagavat sevaya bhagavati tamasloke bhaktir bhavati naishtiki. By regular attendance in classes in the Bhagavatam and by rendering service to the pure devotee. All that is troublesome in the heart will become eradicated in loving service to the Supreme Lord, who is praised with transcendental songs, will be established as an irrevocable fact. Om Jnana Timarandasya Jnananjana Salakaya Chaksurunmidatam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. I was born in the darkness of ignorance. My teachers are opening my eyes with the torchlight of knowledge. I offer my obeisances at their lotus feet. Reading from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 5, Chapter 18. I think we're in text 33?
32.
32.
But why don't we have a quick little recap?
All right, cap it up.
So now who's speaking now? It was the sage. Let's go back here. They got to another Varsha. Remember, Raghunath? They got to this other area. Oh, I'm looking at the wrong thing. Here we go.
Hiran Maya Varsha?
Yeah, Hiran Maya Varsha. And the person speaking was that figure from the Bhagavad Gita. What's his name again, Raghunath?
Oh, Aryama.
Aryama, he's speaking, right? And so in text 30, so again, we're traveling throughout the universe in this chapter, hearing how in different places, different civilizations led by different leaders, how they pray to that one Lord Vishnu, who appears in so many varieties of ways.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes he appears as a tortoise, sometimes he appears as a fish, sometimes he appears as a half man, half lion. He appears in so many different ways. And in text 30, he's describing this Lord Vishnu, this Paramatma, this great spirit. And he says, you are not limited by past, present, and future. Right? He's beyond the material. What do you call it? Like the mechanism that's, he's free of it. You are present everywhere as the shelter of all things. In text 31, he says, the visual cosmic manifestation, what we see, is a demonstration of your own creative energy. Okay, there's someone behind it, right? Just like a painting is a demonstration of someone's creative energy. So this world is a demonstration of your creative energy. And since the countless varieties of forms within this cosmic manifestation are simply a display of your external energy, this universal body is not your real form. You have a form beyond this, what we see. And then he says, except for a devotee in transcendental consciousness, in that Vasudeva consciousness, no one can perceive your actual form, what's behind it all. Okay, that's what he shared up to this point. And now he's going to continue with text 32.
Okay, text 32. My dear Lord, you manifest your different energies in countless forms as living entities born from wombs, from eggs,
See?
and from perspiration.
I told you we were going to talk about that.
As plants and trees that grow out of the earth, as all living entities, both moving and standing, including the demigods, the learned sages, and the pitas.
Forefathers.
Pitas, the forefathers, right? As outer space, as the higher planetary system containing the heavenly planets, and as the planet Earth with its hills, rivers, seas, oceans, and islands. Indeed, all the stars and planets are simply manifestations of your different energies. But originally, you are one without a second. Therefore, there is nothing beyond you. The entire cosmic manifestation is therefore not false, but simply a temporary manifestation of your inconceivable energy.
Incredible.
That's it. It's dreamlike. Is the dream false? No, it's just temporary.
Prabhupada's going to get into that in depth in this commentary, Raghunath.
There's a lot, right?
This was such a Black Elk kind of thing here, right?
Having a Black Elk moment.
Yeah, he's saying, you manifest in unlimited forms. And kind of what he was describing, you see, it's because different Vedic scientists, just like we have scientists that categorize things, right? There's like mammal, and then there's reptile, and then there's, like they'll break things into categories.
Taxonomy.
Is that what it's called? Taxonomy?
I think it's called taxonomy. Yeah. Well,
or there's primate.
The species and the genus and stuff like that. So we have a Western way of doing it.
Yeah.
There is a Vedic way of doing it too. And they've been doing it way before the Greeks and the Romans have been doing it.
Exactly. And one of the ways that they do this is its origin. Some beings are born out of wombs, like human beings. And some are born from eggs, like the chicken. Right?
Yes.
And some are born from perspiration. I guess it's some kind of, I don't even know if that's, is that like some kind of plant life, some kind of bacteria or something?
I don't know.
And then are there maybe other kind of things that are born in perspiration?
We don't even know. We may not.
Mara, could we
Mara,
work on that? What is born out of perspiration? And then there's plants and trees that grow out of the earth. That's another way, another categorization. Then you can break them up into, there's certain living beings that move, and there's certain ones that stand in one place. Okay, another type of categorization. So, although it may sound very random, and it basically just saying all varieties of living beings, these are manifestations of your creative energy.
Interesting way to look at it. Non-moving living entities.
There's non-moving. There's moving living entities. They're not moving. Tree doesn't move. It stays in one place its entire life and then dies.
I like the fact that it's giving it personality, though, from the get-go.
Yes.
That's like the foundation. Like it's a living being, obviously.
Right.
The tree's living. Come on.
Right. And then he goes through the universe. Right. There's demigods, the devas. There's learned sages and pitas, the forefathers. Out in outer space, there's all kind of different planets.
It's such a better, more useful way to view the world, isn't it?
It's conducive for spiritual thought.
Yeah, that there's life in everything, and there's higher beings. Like we have this theory that we are the highest pinnacle of evolved being on the planet, and therefore we have the right, therefore, to direct how we use things, exploit this world, etc. And because everything else is dead to us, of course we'll just look at these trees and these forests as resources for us to exploit.
Yeah. Okay. Anything, Mary, yet?
Not so much, although some people are saying like it may mean it may have been translated like the translation isn't exactly
like it's metaphorical, but I don't believe
yeah, it's
this.
more
I think it's actually scientific, not metaphorical.
okay. Because they're saying maybe it means like protozoa, or, bacteria that divide.
Oh, that's what I'm talking about. It should be some. I'm expecting it to be something like that.
Yeah, that's what I'm coming up with so far, but I'm gonna still work on it.
Thank you. You want to read the commentary, Ruggo?
Yeah. 32, right? Commentary
Yes.
32. Okay. Text 32. The verse completely rejects the theory of Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, which states that spirit or Brahman is real, whereas the manifested material world with its great variety of things is false. Nothing is false. One thing may be permanent and another temporary, but the permanent and the temporary are facts, right? You see the mirage on the road while you're driving in the desert. It's not like it doesn't exist. It's real. It's just not what it appears to be. Right. It's the heat reflecting from the gas of the road. I don't know actually how it happens, but it appears like a lake ahead of me. Everything we experience in our daily lives is the same character. It is temporary but real.
Okay.
So interesting, huh?
Let's slow it down right here. Right.
I was going to tell you to slow it down.
You slow it down.
No, you slow. You're going too fast today. Slow
down. Slow down.
Slower.
So I was going to start speaking really slow, but I don't know if that'll help the podcast. So he starts here. What Prabhupada does here, and this is something that we bring out again and again, is that the Bhagavatam is meant to answer, if you've had any confusion about the different presentations that we've heard in the Vedas and the Upanishads and Mahabharata, it's going to be clarified in Bhagavatam. And so it's a fact, even in Bhagavad Gita, right? We hear that this world is illusory, that anything temporary is in one sense, as at least in we hear it, na sato vidyate bhavo, na bhavo vidyate sataha. The seers of the truth, they've concluded that things that change, that have no endurance, that they don't exist in one sense, that they are illusory in one sense, right? But what Prabhupada is saying here is he's emphasizing there's actually, you got to view it with two eyes. It's real but unreal. It's both. It's not entirely unreal. Now, there are certain Vedantins, certain people that study these exact same books, especially Upanishads, right? And they come to the conclusion that this world is unreal in every sense, right? That actually, like you and I and whoever's listening to this on their headphones or watching it on YouTube through their screen, that the screen doesn't exist, the headphones don't exist, the podcast doesn't exist, none of us exist, that all of this is illusion. And the only thing that is true is that there's just one divine spirit, and that is who we are, and everything else is false. And that's called Brahma Satyam. Brahman is true. Brahman is real. Brahman Satya, this divine glow, this divine light is truth. Jagan Mithya, and this universe is entirely false. It doesn't actually exist. Prabhupada's saying that's a misunderstanding. Right? That slogan misunderstands what's being. It's false in one sense, but ultimately nothing's false. It's just a different category of energy. Okay. Yeah,
it's beautiful to get this glimpse into how the Vedas view the world. But when you do it like that, then all of the stuff we're caught up into, all the things we're struggling with, you say, yep, it's dreamlike. It's dreamlike.
It's a dreamlike manifestation of God's energy.
And to really help a person, you bring them back to their spiritual consciousness, their spiritual eternality. People are going through stuff. That's what we do. We remind them of what we are, that the world is actually dreamlike. You're going through waves of an ocean, and that in a few moments, it's going to be over. And what we're sweating right now is going to be over in that moment. And I think it's a very comforting philosophy. I've got a few messages today, in the last couple of days, actually, of a lot of our community that actually has been going through a very hard time. And they sort of like disappeared and like re-showed up, using the Bhagavatam as sort of like a rope to grip onto.
Right.
We just want you to know, and we're going to put this out there now, this is our community. And you never have to disappear from the community. You can reach out to
things like
you
that.
can reach out to the community. Let this community of wisdom and sages be a chain that you hold on to, and take shelter of us. I take shelter of the community when I'm going through hell. And we're all of us go through times, and it helps to have friends, sage groups, teachers that we can lean into when things are going south. And if you don't think things are going south, or things are not going south for you, give it time. They will. But we just want you to know we're here for you. Take shelter of the devotees when things are looking bad. And it's the best way to deal with things. So if you've gone away and you're coming back, welcome back. We love you, and we're here for you. Just to add that in there too.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Why don't we finish the commentary for the day?
Although the body of the living
The different
entities,
kinds of living entities.
others hatch from eggs, still others. Okay. A living entity takes birth under different circumstances according to his past activities, karma. Although the body of living entities.
Where are you right? No, the different kind of living entities coming from various sources are clearly described in this verse. Start of the paragraph.
The different kinds of living entities coming from various sources are very clearly described in this verse. Some are born from a womb, and some, like certain insects, from human perspiration.
Okay.
What? Others hatch from eggs, like reptiles, and still others sprout from the earth. A living entity takes birth under different circumstances according to his past activities. That's their karma. Although the body of the living entity is material, it is never false. No one will accept the argument that since a person's material body is false, murder has no repercussions, right? You have to still face up to what's going on in this world.
Yeah.
Our temporary bodies are given to us according to our karma, and we must remain in our given bodies to enjoy the pains and pleasures of our life. Our bodies cannot be called false. They are only temporary. In other words, the energy from the Supreme Lord is as permanent as the Lord himself, although his energy is sometimes manifest and sometimes not. As summarized in the Vedas, Sarvam Kalavidam Brahma. Everything is Brahman.
It's like electricity can produce refrigeration or it can produce heat.
That's good.
So there are different categories of the ways that it manifests. And what the spiritual realm is the manifestation of the energy of God, but even the material world, although it's temporary, it's still Brahman in that sense that it's Krishna's energy. What do you think it would be like to be hatched out of an egg, Raghunath, like to just break out?
What would that be like?
Yeah, I mean, it seems easier than
torturous.
coming out of the womb. You just poke your way out.
Yeah, you know what that must feel like, sitting in that egg?
I'm not about sitting. I'm talking about.
It's almost like you're like being kidnapped and put in a canvas bag. Here and then, like, what about those turtles? You got to dig out of a hole, and then it's like run for your life. It's like instinctual. Run
That's
for your life
different.
to the sea, and do not get picked off by a pelican. Material existence is painful.
Let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here. Spiritual life. Mara, get us out. Give us some nuggets today.
Our clear awareness is waiting to be uncovered.
Yep.
Mara's like, go ahead to a reaction, please.
No.
Yeah.
Even Lord Brahma is a tiny being.
Tiny.
Yeah.
Strive for Vasudeva consciousness.
Okay.
Every rung on the ladder is a joyous step.
It really is. It really is in bhakti.
Greed never satisfies us.
It doesn't.
No.
Make a
Been
fool
there.
of yourself.
Make a fool of yourself.
Degrade. yourself.
Raghunath running through a warehouse, shoving stuff in a box.
At any moment, we can be covered by illusion and the consumption frenzy.
A consumption frenzy. A shopping spree.
Don't let our mind degrade us.
That's right.
It's always exciting. Do you remember these? Like there were some like game shows or something where it's like a shopping spree, and you're like running around the supermarket or the department store throwing things in baskets. Wasn't that something? Wasn't that a TV show?
Maybe. I don't know.
Nothing, Mara? No. Mara's like never watched TV.
Supermarket sweep. Is that what you're talking about?
Is that what it was?
Supermarket
Okay,
Sweep? Maybe you have.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember that show actually.
And that's with food.
Yeah.
What do you do? Like
What are they
food?
trying? They just
How much
create ways
food
to
is all
degrade
going to go
yourself.
bad?
Yeah, no.
Oh, I
Here,
got too
it's-
much
it's-
broccoli.
It's kind of like, here, we're going to pay you $100 to appear on a television show, and you also get to run around the supermarket and collect stuff. And this is what you'll be known for this is what you
Rest of your
accomplished in
life.
your life. Or do
Yeah.
you want to make that bargain? Okay.
Yes. Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
All right. This world is dreamlike.
This world is dreamlike. Yes. That reminds me of the time that we were all brahmacharis and we didn't really have any clothing to wear on stage. And Henry took us to the mall to get clothing.
But he didn't ask you to degrade yourself, did he?
No, he just says, get whatever you want. We were in the Gap and we were like, I don't even know what's cool anymore. I've been a monk, so I don't even know what to wear. But it was sort of like it was a monk's shopping spree. We're running around like in orange robes at the Gap. How crazy is that? Oh, this world is humiliating. Thanks, Henry, for that, though. That was fun. Okay, go on.
Take shelter of the devotees when things are looking bad.
Yeah. We got
Yeah.
you.
And
Yeah.
And
I don't even need a snowboard jacket.
I don't even need a snowboard jacket.
Don't even need a snowboard.
I don't even snowboard. Oh my God. Oh, Paramatma is on the show. He can relate to all this stuff. He says our bass player, KC, Krishna Chaitanya, he got 5 of the same exact shirts. We didn't even know what to get. We're like, I guess I got the same shirt 5 times.
Shows he had no greed.
Krishna, your world's humiliating. Thanks, everybody, for joining us. This was fun. Hey, everybody, if you haven't done it, go to Apple Podcasts, write us a review, give us 5 stars. It means a lot to us. Tell your friends about Wisdom of the Sages, take a snapshot, or forward them the podcast. You go to Apple Podcasts, just forward them, or Spotify, forward them the podcast. Say, hey, I think you'd like this thing. I think you'd like this podcast. Send it away to a friend sitting on the edge. Maybe they're part of in their spiritual life, or they're trying to they're pining around. They're trying to get deeper into their spiritual life. You can help them. You can give that away to people.
Drago, I think you should share yesterday's podcast with your family.
I'm debating. I'm debating
You're
whether to
in
do that or not. I'm debating whether to do that.
I
Actually,
think they'd like
They're
it.
all like, Jesus came to my birth, not his birth.
I told my brothers and sisters I was the anointed one.